Help me, please help me, the mermaid begged weakly. As the farmer moved closer, he saw something he had never seen in his life. A young woman with very long hair, shining like the morning sun, was lying on the sand near the bush path. But something was strange. Her lower body was not like a normal person. It was a fishtail, with shining scales. His jaw dropped in awe. Baba Tolu was a very poor man. He was so poor that he could not even buy a small radio for himself. He did not have a bicycle, so he always walked to people's farms to work. He worked for people to get money to buy food for his wife and 3 children. Sometimes, people paid him with gari or corn instead of money, and he was always grateful. Every day, Baba Tolu would wake up before the sun came out. He would pray, drink water, and start his journey to the farm where he would work that day. Sometimes he would carry a small hoe on his shoulder, and sometimes he would carry a cutlass. He wore the same brown shirt and torn trousers every day because he did not have any other clothes for farm work. That day was a very cold morning. The ground was wet because it rained the previous night. Baba Tolu was walking on the small bush path, listening to the sounds of crickets and small birds singing in the early morning. He was thinking about how he would get food for his children that day because they did not eat well the day before. Suddenly, Baba Tolu heard a strange sound ahead of him. It was like someone crying softly, "Help me, please help me." Baba Tolu stopped. His heart started beating fast. He looked around, but he did not see anyone. He was afraid. The path was narrow, with tall grasses on both sides. He thought maybe it was a trick of witches, so he wanted to turn back and run home. But he heard the weak voice again. "Please help me." He decided to walk slowly toward the sound. As he moved closer, he saw something he had never seen in his life. A young woman with very long hair, shining like the morning sun, was lying on the sand near the bush path. But something was strange. Her lower body was not like a normal person. It was a fishtail with shining scales, green and silver in color, and it was moving slowly in the sand. Baba Tolu was shocked. His mouth opened, and he almost dropped his hoe. He wanted to run back, but the young woman looked at him with tired eyes and begged again, "Please help me." Baba Tolu took a step back. "Who are you?" he asked, his voice shaking. "What are you doing here?" The mermaid looked so weak, tears dropping from her eyes. "Some young men caught me last night when I was bathing by the river. They tied me up in their ship, but I managed to escape when they were sleeping. I have been crawling since midnight, trying to find my way back to the river." Baba Tolu shook his head. He found it hard to believe what he was hearing. "You mean you are from the river? You are a water spirit?" he asked, fear in his voice. She nodded weakly. "Yes, but I will not harm you. Please help me get back to the river before the sun rises fully, or I will die here." Baba Tolu looked around, scared that someone would see him with her. He was a poor man who had nothing, and he did not want trouble. "If I help you, will I be safe?" he asked. The mermaid nodded quickly, her eyes pleading, "Yes, I promise. Please help me." Baba Tolu did not know what to do. He looked at the mermaid, so weak and shaking, and he felt pity. His heart was kind, and he could not leave her there to die. He knew his family was waiting for him to go work so he could bring food home, but he could not ignore her. He took a deep breath, dropped his hoe by the side of the bush, and went closer, though he still kept some distance. "How do I carry you?" he asked carefully. The mermaid lifted her hands weakly. "Please just carry me, and my tail will not harm you." Baba Tolu bent down and, with trembling hands, lifted the mermaid carefully. She was surprisingly light, and the scales on her tail felt cold and slippery. He started walking toward the river, which was about 20 minutes away, stepping carefully so he would not fall. As he was walking, the mermaid closed her eyes and whispered, "Thank you." Baba Tolu did not say anything. His heart was beating fast, and sweat was running down his face, even in the cold morning. He kept looking around to see if anyone was coming, praying silently in his heart that no one would see him carrying a mermaid to the river. Suddenly, as he was almost near the small bridge close to the river, he heard some voices behind him. "Baba Tolu, Baba Tolu!" He froze immediately. It was a group of young men, about 4 of them, calling him from afar. They were carrying cutlasses and sticks, and they were walking fast toward him. Baba Tolu's legs became weak. His hands started shaking as he held the mermaid tightly. He turned slowly to see them waving at him to stop. "What do I do now?" Baba Tolu whispered to the mermaid. The mermaid opened her eyes quickly, fear on her face. "Please don't let them take me again," she whispered. Baba Tolu looked at the young men as they came closer, and he did not know what to do. He wanted to run, but he was carrying the mermaid, and the ground was wet and slippery. The young men came closer, and one of them shouted, "Baba Tolu, what are you carrying?" Baba Tolu's mouth became dry. He could not speak. His eyes were on the young men, and his heart was beating so fast that he could hear it in his ears. Another young man shouted, "Baba Tolu, drop what you are carrying and come here." Baba Tolu held the mermaid tighter, and the mermaid closed her eyes, breathing fast. "Please," the mermaid whispered, "don't let them take me back." Baba Tolu did not know what to do next. He was just a poor man, working every day on people's farms to feed his children. And now, he had found himself in a situation that could change his life forever. He took a step back, looking at the river that was not too far away, then looked back at the young men coming closer, calling him with confused looks on their faces. And at that moment, Baba Tolu knew that whatever he did next would change everything forever. Amai's Baba Tolu stood there, carrying the mermaid in his arms, shaking with fear. The young men were now very close. They were four, holding cutlasses and sticks, and they were breathing heavily as they looked at Baba Tolu and the mermaid. The tallest one, who had a scar on his face, looked at Baba Tolu and then at the mermaid. He smiled and said, "Baba Tolu, you are a lucky man today." Baba Tolu's mouth was dry, and he could not speak. He looked at them with wide eyes, wondering what they wanted. Another one, who wore a red cap, stepped forward and said, "We have been looking for this mermaid since last night. We caught her while she was bathing at the river, but she escaped. You found her for us, Baba Tolu, and we will reward you." Baba Tolu swallowed hard, still saying nothing. His heart was beating fast, and the mermaid was shaking in his hands. Then, the tall one said, "We will give you 100,000 naira if you give her to us now. Don't tell anyone, Baba Tolu. After we sell her to a rich man, we will give you another share." Baba Tolu's eyes opened wide when he heard 100,000 naira. He had never seen that kind of money in his entire life. The most he had ever seen was 5,000 naira after working for many weeks on people's farms. His heart started beating with excitement, and he felt sweat on his back. He thought about his children at home who had not eaten well, and how his wife had been managing to feed them with soaked gari and salt. He thought about how he could use the money to buy rice, beans, new clothes for his children, and maybe a small radio. Baba Tolu looked at the mermaid, who was looking at him with tears in her eyes, shaking her head slowly. "Please help me," she whispered in a weak voice. Baba Tolu turned his face away from her. He looked at the young men and said, "You people will not play with me, right? Give me the 100,000 first, and then I will give her to you." The young men looked at each other. Then the one with the red cap dipped his hand into his pocket and brought out a bundle of money tied with a rubber band. He showed it to Baba Tolu, who could not believe his eyes. The money looked big, and Baba Tolu felt his head spinning. The young man handed the money to Baba Tolu, and Baba Tolu's hands shook as he collected it. He looked at the money, pressing it to his chest and then to his forehead, smiling widely. Without looking at the mermaid again, Baba Tolu handed her over to the young men. They carried her roughly, tying her hands with a rope, and the mermaid started crying softly, "Please, help me, please." But Baba Tolu did not listen. His eyes were on the money, and his heart was dancing with happiness. He did not even pick up his hoe from the bush as he turned back and started walking home quickly, almost running. When he reached home, he was breathing fast. He opened the door and saw his wife sitting on the floor, peeling cassava with a small knife, and his children were sitting quietly, looking hungry. Baba Tolu raised the money high and shouted, "Mama Tolu, God has done it for us." His wife Mama Tolu looked up shocked. "What is that?" she asked. Baba Tolu started laughing, putting the money on his chest and forehead again. 100,000 naira, he shouted. "We are rich now." His children stood up, looking confused, and Mama Tolu dropped the knife, standing up slowly. "Where did you get that kind of money, Baba Tolu?" she asked, her voice shaking. Baba Tolu, still smiling, started narrating everything that happened. He told her how he found the mermaid, how the young men came, and how they promised him money to give her to them. When Baba Tolu finished talking, expecting Mama Tolu to dance and rejoice, she stood there looking at him with tears in her eyes. She shook her head and said, "Baba Tolu, you did not do well." Baba Tolu's smile disappeared. "What do you mean?" he asked, confused. "You should have helped her, Baba Tolu," Mama Tolu said, her voice trembling. "She begged you, and you sold her because of money? What if she is someone's daughter? What if she is a spirit that God wanted to use to bless us for helping her?" Baba Tolu was silent, looking at the money in his hands. He felt a sudden coldness in his heart. His children stood in a corner watching their parents silently, sensing something was wrong. Mama Tolu wiped her tears and said, "Take that money back to them and bring that mermaid back. It is not right." Baba Tolu looked at his wife, then at his children, and then at the money again. His heart started beating fast, and fear entered his mind. "What if they refuse to take the money back?" Baba Tolu asked, his voice low. Mama Tolu looked at him with tears dropping down her cheeks. "Try, Baba Tolu, try to bring her back." Baba Tolu sat down thinking deeply. He held the money tightly, feeling the weight of it in his hands. He thought of the new clothes, the food, and maybe the bicycle he could buy. But Mama Tolu's tears and the voice of the mermaid calling, "Please help me," started ringing in his ears. After sitting for a while, Baba Tolu stood up, tied the money in a small black nylon bag, and left the house. He walked fast, going back to the bush path, looking around for the young men. He searched everywhere but could not find them. When the sun started setting, he went home feeling tired and afraid. But Mama Tolu looked at him and said, "Try again, Baba Tolu, please." In the evening, when the moon was already coming out, Baba Tolu left again. He walked to the village square and then to the palm wine joints, where young men usually sat to drink and talk. He was lucky. He saw the 4 young men sitting in a corner, drinking palm wine and laughing. Baba Tolu felt fear, but he walked toward them with the nylon bag of money in his hand. When they saw him, they started laughing. "Baba Tolu, have you come to thank us?" the one with the scar said. Baba Tolu shook his head, holding out the money. "Take your money and give me back the mermaid," he said, his voice shaking. The young men stopped laughing. They looked at him with cold eyes. The one with the red cap stood up and took the money from him, counting it slowly. Then he looked at Baba Tolu and said, "It's too late, Baba Tolu." Baba Tolu's heart stopped. "What do you mean?" he asked. The young man put the money in his pocket and said, "We have already sold her to a rich man in the neighboring village. She is gone." Baba Tolu fell on his knees, his eyes wide, and tears filled his eyes. "Please, please tell me where she is," he begged. But the young men started laughing again, taking their calabashes of palm wine and ignoring him. Baba Tolu sat there on the ground, shaking, tears rolling down his cheeks, thinking about the mermaid's teary eyes and soft voice calling, "Please help me." And in that moment, Baba Tolu realized that the money in his hands could not buy back what he had lost. Baba Tolu could not sleep that night. He kept turning on the small mat in his small mud house, looking at the empty ceiling. His wife, Mama Tolu, was also awake facing the wall, with tears dropping from her eyes. The children were sleeping, but their small stomachs were making sounds from hunger. Baba Tolu stood up quietly, wore his old brown shirt, and tied a small piece of cloth around his waist. He looked at his wife, who turned to him and asked in a soft voice, "Where are you going?" "I need to find her," Baba Tolu whispered. "I will not rest until I find her." Mama Tolu nodded slowly. "May God go with you." Baba Tolu left the house and entered the cold night. The moon was bright in the sky, and the air was cold on his skin. He started walking to the next village, and then to another village, asking people along the way if they had seen young men selling something strange that night. He knocked on small huts and asked old women sitting by fires, "Mama, did you see young men pass here with something strange?" But they all shook their heads. "No, we did not see anything." Baba Tolu felt tired, but he did not stop. He walked to another neighboring village, asking people who were still sitting outside, but nobody saw anything. His legs were aching, and sweat was dripping down his back even in the cold night. But he did not stop. He thought about the mermaid's face, how she looked at him with tears in her eyes, begging for help. He heard her voice in his ears, "Please help me," and his heart pained him. After checking many villages without finding anything, he decided to go back to the palm wine joint where he saw the young men earlier that evening. He walked fast, hoping to find them there and beg them again. When he arrived at the palm wine joint, he saw that the place was empty. The place was quiet with only one small lantern hanging and flies flying around it. The wooden benches were empty, and the ground was wet with spilled palm wine. Baba Tolu's heart sank. He looked around, hoping to see the young men hiding somewhere, but there was no one. Then, he saw a man sitting alone under a small tree beside the palm wine joint. The man was holding a calabash of palm wine with shaking hands, drinking slowly. He was already drunk, and his eyes were red. Baba Tolu walked to him quickly and asked, "My brother, please, did you see 4 young fishermen here earlier tonight?" The drunk man looked up slowly, his eyes rolling, and he smiled foolishly. "And I saw them, Baba Tolu." "Where did they go?" Baba Tolu asked quickly, bending down to the man's level. The drunk man laughed and drank more palm wine, letting some of it pour down his chin. "They have left, Baba Tolu. They left to another place," he said, his voice slow. Baba Tolu felt frustrated. He held his head with his hands, thinking of what to do next. He looked at the drunk man, who was now humming a song, and thought maybe he could get some information from him. "Please, my brother," Baba Tolu said softly. "You said they left. Do you know where they went?" The drunk man started laughing loudly. "Ah, they had so much money, Baba Tolu. They bought free drinks for everyone. Everyone was happy." Baba Tolu's eyes brightened. "Money?" he asked. "Where do you think they got the money from?" The drunk man dropped his calabash and started laughing again, slapping his knee. "Ah, Baba Tolu, you don't know? Ha ha! They sold a mermaid, ha ha ha!" Baba Tolu's eyes opened wide and he moved closer. "Mermaid? Are you sure?" The drunk man nodded, still laughing. "Yes, they sold a mermaid, ha ha ha!" Baba Tolu's heart started beating fast. He felt like light entered his head, and he became very alert. He held the drunk man's shoulders and shook him gently. "Please, my brother, tell me, who buys mermaids in this area?" The drunk man stopped laughing and looked at Baba Tolu with his red eyes. "Ah, you mean you don't know?" Baba Tolu shook his head quickly. "Please tell me." The drunk man burst into laughter again. "Ha ha ha! Everyone knows Mr. Ajala, the richest man in the next village. He buys mermaids, ha ha ha!" Baba Tolu's eyes widened. "Mr. Ajala?" The drunk man nodded, still laughing. "Yes, he buys mermaids. He uses them for, ha ha ha, for money rituals, ha ha ha." As soon as Baba Tolu heard that, he did not wait for another word. He stood up quickly, turned around, and started running, leaving the drunk man laughing alone. The drunk man looked at Baba Tolu's back as he ran into the night and became confused, scratching his head. Why is he running like that? But Baba Tolu did not stop. His bare feet hit the cold, rough ground, and the night wind blew on his face as he ran. His heart was beating fast and sweat poured down his body. "Mr. Mr. Ajala," he kept saying in his mind. He knew Mr. Ajala very well. Everyone in the village and neighboring villages knew Mr. Ajala as the richest man. He had many wives, many cars, and many big farms. People said he had charms that brought him wealth, and many people feared him. Baba Tolu's mind was racing as he ran. What will I say when I get there? Will Mr. Ajala allow me to take her? Will he kill me if I ask for the mermaid? But Baba Tolu did not care anymore. All he could think of was the mermaid's face, the way she looked at him with tears, and how she whispered, "Please help me." He knew he had to try. He could not live with the guilt in his heart. He could not look at his wife's face again if he did not try. As he was running, the moonlight showed the small bush path, and he could see the trees moving in the night wind. His legs were getting tired, but he did not stop. He passed by a small stream, breathing heavily, and then climbed a small hill that led to Mr. Ajala's village. His heart was beating so loud he could hear it in his ears, but he did not stop. When he reached the entrance of Mr. Ajala's village, he saw that the village was quiet, with many lanterns hanging in front of huts, and the sound of crickets filling the night. He stood there breathing heavily, looking at the path that led to Mr. Ajala's big compound. He wiped the sweat from his face with the back of his hand, took a deep breath, and started walking slowly toward Mr. Ajala's compound. As he got closer, he saw the big gates of Mr. Ajala's compound, painted red with big iron bars. He saw two big dogs lying near the gate, their eyes shining in the moonlight. Baba Tolu's heart was beating fast. He took another deep breath, stood before the gate, and raised his hand to knock. But before his hand could touch the gate, the dogs stood up and started barking loudly. Baba Tolu stood in front of Mr. Ajala's big red gate, breathing heavily as the dogs barked loudly. He was afraid, but he knew he could not go back. He had to try to save the mermaid. Slowly, a guard came out with a big torchlight, flashing it on Baba Tolu's face. "Who is there?" the guard shouted. Baba Tolu raised his hands, shaking. "Please, I want to see Mr. Ajala. I have something important to sell to him." The guard looked at Baba Tolu suspiciously. "What do you want to sell to Oga this night?" "It is a special herbal charm for wealth." Baba Tolu lied, his voice trembling. The guard looked at him for a while, then went back inside. Baba Tolu waited, shaking. The dogs sniffed him, but did not bite him. After some minutes, the guard returned. "Follow me," he said. Baba Tolu followed the guard into the big compound. The compound was very big, with many lights and big cars parked everywhere. Baba Tolu's heart was beating fast as he walked on the clean ground. They entered a big house and the guard told Baba Tolu to kneel down and wait. Baba Tolu knelt on the cold tiles, sweating and praying silently. "God, please help me." After a while, Mr. Ajala came out. He was a big man with a big stomach, wearing a white gown and gold chains on his neck. His eyes were sharp and he looked at Baba Tolu like a lion. "You said you have something for me?" Mr. Ajala asked in a deep voice. Baba Tolu bowed his head. "Yes, sir. I have a special herbal charm that will bring more wealth to you." Mr. Ajala laughed. "I already have wealth, old man. Why should I buy your charm?" Baba Tolu's eyes moved around, looking for signs of the mermaid. Then he said quickly, "Sir, I know you have something in this house that needs spiritual help so it can work well." Mr. Ajala's eyes narrowed. "What are you talking about?" Baba Tolu took a deep breath. "The mermaid, sir. I can help you know if she will bring wealth or problems." Mr. Ajala's eyes turned red immediately and the guards in the room became alert. "Who told you about that?" Mr. Ajala asked slowly. Baba Tolu's heart was beating very fast, but he spoke. "Spirit revealed it to me, sir. Please, I can help you." Mr. Ajala was silent for a while. Then he waved his hand. "Bring the mermaid," he told the guards. Two guards went out and came back, dragging the mermaid in a sack. They dropped her on the floor and opened the sack. The mermaid looked weak, her hair dirty, and tears were on her face. When she saw Baba Tolu, her eyes brightened, but she looked afraid. Baba Tolu looked at her, and his heart broke, but he kept a strong face. Mr. Ajala looked at Baba Tolu. "What will you do now, old man?" Baba Tolu bent down and whispered to the mermaid, "I will take you home now. Trust me." The mermaid's eyes filled with tears again and she nodded weakly. Baba Tolu stood up and said loudly, "Sir, to know if she will bring wealth, I need to take her outside and pray for her under the moonlight for a few minutes." Mr. Ajala looked at Baba Tolu with suspicion, but he was also curious and greedy for wealth. "Be fast," he said. The guards lifted the mermaid and followed Baba Tolu outside to the backyard. The moon was bright and the air was cool. Baba Tolu lifted his hands and started praying loudly, pretending to call the spirits of wealth. The guards were distracted, looking up as Baba Tolu prayed, and Baba Tolu moved closer to the mermaid, whispering, "When I shout, we start running." Suddenly, Baba Tolu shouted, "Now!" He grabbed the mermaid, lifted her on his back, and started running fast toward the bush behind the compound. He grabbed the mermaid, lifted her on his back, and started running fast toward the bush behind the compound. The guards were shocked for a few seconds before they started shouting and running after him. "Don't shoot! Don't shoot!" Mr. Ajala, who was coming out to see what was happening, screamed. Baba Tolu ran as fast as he could, holding the mermaid tightly. The ground was rough and branches were scratching him, but he did not stop. The mermaid held him tightly, whispering, "Thank you." They ran until they reached the river. Baba Tolu dropped the mermaid gently near the water. She looked at him with tears and said, "Thank you. You have saved me." Baba Tolu was breathing heavily, and tears dropped from his eyes. "Please, forgive me," he whispered. The mermaid nodded. You have shown kindness. You will hear from me soon. Please leave before they find you here." Then she slowly entered the water, and within seconds, she disappeared under the river, leaving only small waves on the surface. Baba Tolu fell on his knees, crying, thanking God for helping him do the right thing. He felt peace in his heart, and suddenly he took to his heels, running home in the dark. Days passed, and Baba Tolu returned to his normal farm work, though he had peace in his heart. He worked on people's farms, getting small pay to buy food for his family. But he was happy he had done the right thing. One hot afternoon, Baba Tolu's eldest son Tolu came running into the house, breathing fast and carrying a small wooden box. "Papa, Papa!" the boy shouted. Baba Tolu and Mama Tolu were sitting on the mat, peeling cassava. "What is it, my son?" Baba Tolu asked. "A stranger met me on the way from the stream and said I should give you this box," Tolu said, handing the box to his father. Baba Tolu and Mama Tolu looked at each other, confused. Baba Tolu slowly opened the box, and his eyes widened. The box was full of money, neatly arranged in bundles. He felt his hands shaking, and Mama Tolu covered her mouth in shock. Tolu said, "Papa, the man said you will understand." Tears filled Baba Tolu's eyes. He remembered the mermaid's last words, "You will hear from me soon." Baba Tolu and Mama Tolu knelt down and began to cry and smee at the same time. And that was how Baba Tolu and his family became rich. They used the money to buy a small piece of land, built a better house, and their children started going to school. They also helped the poor in their village, giving them food and support. Baba Tolu always told people, "Do the right thing, even when it is hard, and blessings will surely find you." The mermaid was never seen again, but Baba Tolu and his family never forgot the miracle that changed their lives forever. The end.